And we're here.
Woo!
Welcome to the second book club live, where we're talking about chapters 1 to 42 of The First Crescent City. I
don't have a copy.
came prepared. Mine is heavily tabbed. So where do we want to start is the question.
Maybe just... Well, I know that me and Sam have finished the book, therefore can give an overall rating. But Katie, you haven't, right?
No, I've only read the first half.
So you could, maybe I was going to say like rating and then...
Yeah, like if we rate the first half or something?
Yeah, like...
Let me find page, like chapter 42 first.
I think if I had to rate just the first half of the book, it'd probably be a 4 out of 5. And I think that's just because there are times where I had to read the page a few times in order to understand what was going on or like who was what character. So yeah, it did take a lot to sink in. But like once it sort of like flowed and I was like, okay, I know who these characters are, and then I started enjoying it more. And I really like the kind of detective part of it, of like finding out what's going on.
Yeah, I do agree with like the first half being probably like 4 stars because of you're learning everything, and it is a little bit slower compared to the second half. But with learning, like you're learning the characters dynamics, some of their history, and that does feel like it not drags on, but you're kind of like, okay, this 2 paragraphs could have been 1 paragraph.
I think if I was rereading it, I'd understand it better, obviously, because I'd know the characters and whatever. But as a first-time reading, I think just because of the information thrown at you and the characters, that there's so many, there's like 50 or something, like, thrown at you. And then
yeah, it's just like, here's a character, here's a character, here's a character. To the point that when I was doing my reread in, like, February here, is I was like, I forgot who you were. And then you, so I definitely can see that first time reading being confused, because I sure as hell was confused.
Yeah. I would agree saying like the first half is definitely like a 4-star type of thing for me.
I'm glad we all agree. That's quite nice that we all agree.
Yeah, I've noticed that too with a lot of what she does is she pulls a lot of ideas from other places, but doesn't really necessarily elaborate on them all too much. So, yeah, it can get kind of confusing. What was your favorite part of this first half?
I think my favorite part has definitely got to be where the chimera and Hun outside and the bite in the bum. I think that's probably my favorite highlight.
The way that my brain immediately went to that as well was just like that was funny. Like, because it's just like a laugh in the middle of all the chaos.
Yeah, yeah, and like it's definitely the biggest laugh I think out of the first half that I've had.
I have to say it's probably for me the jelly bean or whatever, the little horses. Yeah, that part makes me laugh, and every time it's like reference to it since then, it's probably my favorite.
Yeah,
you have a kitty behind you.
Yeah. Do you want to be part of this conversation too, bro?
He's like, I have thoughts.
What's your favorite part?
Come on.
I also love how we're agreeing that the best parts so far are the funny moments.
Yeah.
I think it's because, like, amongst what's going on, those are the scenes you remember. Like, and they're the light and the darkness sort of scenes as well. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're always funny moments. Like, they literally make you laugh out loud moments as well. Like, I don't often laugh out loud in fantasy books, but, like...
Yeah, the way that it was able to combine, like, all these heavy fantasy elements, but then also make it comedic and, like, in some points are easy to read, and then other parts you're like, okay, let's reread that sentence, but I feel like there's a good enough balance that it's not like too easy, too hard, too serious, too funny. It's like a really good mix.
And it also can be pretty dark too, considering like it has a lot of to do with her PTSD about the night that Danica had been killed, has been killed. So having the humor really breaks it up, and it's just a way for her to deal with that pain is to use humor, because she has the same kind of sense of humor I have, where that's just how I deal with things, and that's how like I show people that I care. Is if I tease you, that means I like you. And if I'm really sarcastic with you, that means I like you. That means I'm comfortable enough with you to make those kinds of jokes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's kind of like similar to me. So it's like the dark moments are dark, but then the humor kind of not makes you happy because of those dark things, but makes you realize that like Bryce hasn't let those dark things control her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's traumatic things that she's still trying to work through, but she's not letting that control her life.
Yeah. I've been known to kind of have the same kind of coping mechanisms when it comes to that as well, so I completely understood where she was coming from about her issues with her leg. So it's definitely a tough one. Okay, let me get back to my questions. What was your least favorite part?
I'm not saying like it was bad part, like as in like least part is because it made me sort of like and that was just the way that the scene was described the first time.
Yeah.
Like I was just like like nothing of the whole part of the first part like I didn't like. To be honest, like nothing comes to mind. It's just that's the only scene where it literally make me feel like sick.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that's a difficult question, because when you're reading a book, you more think of the points that you love, not the ones that you're like, eh. So I don't really know.
I think mine would just be like the handling of whenever her text messages got leaked, and just how just Sabine in general, the way that she treats her and had treated Danica throughout it is what really was not my favorite part of it, because when you think of hear about a mother figure, you hear of being supportive and protective, but not with her. She's like the total opposite, which I mean it helps from a plot standpoint, but the during the interview with right after the attack happened, when she's in the interrogation room, the way that she kind of just barged in and didn't really give too much to that particular plot is what kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, I think I would agree that first, like in the interrogation room, you're kind of almost like, why are you here to Sabine? Yeah. She didn't really add anything to that scene really, except like stress.
Yeah.
Anytime she showed up on page, you're just kind of like, what now?
Like, why are you here? Don't make me punch you.
Just leave.
Get a water bottle and spray her with it.
Yes, that character I did want to punch.
At any points did you race through certain scenes to like either get them done because you didn't like the gruesome parts that you just wanted to hurry up and get read through them, or did you take your time with it and with it being more of a slow burn for you?
Yeah, I think I took my time with it only because I wanted to retain all the information and like who was who, and because obviously it was kind of like a detective story, so it was like trying to figure it out with them as well. So I was like, right, okay, so this person did this and this person and all that. So, and then the bits where like it sped up a bit, where like kind of like where something came into the story of where you're like, oh, okay, this is turn a spin on it. Like for example, like Danica's mum, when it came in, like, did she kill her daughter, sort of thing, and it's like, oh. So yeah, and then I was like, oh yeah, let's read more.
I don't think there was ever a moment where I necessarily like sped up reading or slowed down. I just kind of read it at the normal pace I would, and like obviously if there were some scenes that I was like, okay, what happened, I would then slow down and reread it, but I can't think of like specific scenes that I did that.
Yeah,
I just
there's
know I
a time
did.
when it was just rereading a passage of like, wait, what just happened?
Or like it'll be something little like, oh, I thought you were over there in the room, but you're actually next. Like little things like that, I sometimes have to reread.
Or like, who is this character again? Like,
yeah, like when did you get here?
Yeah, I found myself. I think whenever it came to like the funnier bits, even though I was trying to make them last a long time because I enjoyed those, I tend to read those kind of fast because I'm enjoying them so much. I tend to read them quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the obsession with retrieving the sword, I kind of agree with that, but she was also obsessed with the sword before Danica had died. She was more obsessed about the fact that she is getting passed over for what was like the prime of the wolves or something, instead of just staying at her like alpha status. So I can kind of see it with being more coping with the grief, but since she was more obsessed with it to begin with at the beginning of everything, I'm kind of like, I don't have that much sympathy for her.
Yeah, Sabine is like a power-hungry character, and that made everything just kind of awkward.
Yeah. I'd have to take my time with this whole book, no fast sections, because there's so much info packed in. Definitely, when you reread it too, you like you tend to pick out a lot of those small details you didn't quite notice in the beginning. It's always fun to reread books.
And then you find things that you maybe missed the first time as well, which is always quite interesting.
Yeah, the new terms for this species did kind of throw me off.
I still probably don't understand them all like 100%.
Yeah. And even sometimes whenever Juniper was described, it took me a long while to actually picture her the way that she's supposed to look in my head, because I couldn't quite understand how she was supposed to look.
I think I had to search up fan art for like the second time around because I was like, I don't remember how I even described like visioned you the first time reading through, and I'm struggling this time around.
Yeah. Was there a scene that stuck with you the most out of the first half?
Probably just that like funny scene, to be honest.
Yeah. What do you think about the writing of this whole thing?
It's definitely different to her Throne of Glass series. Like, because that's written more like YA, whereas this one's more like...
It's definite, like,
it's adult.
Yeah. So, whereas her Throne of Glass books, I like flew through, like, because it was like really easy to read. And then, but like this one, I've taken my time a lot more, I've noticed.
I still have an issue with her writing where she likes to repeat words 3 times over and over again. And that's like my main criticism about all of her books. It's like you could cut down on your word length by just removing 2 words from that sentences and you'll be fine.
Yeah, there definitely is some repetition.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the writing is like, for me at least, like, it's not hard to read, but it's not easy. It's just kind of like in the middle, like, and the writing style is in some aspects repetitive and a little bit wordy. but can't really change it, obviously.
Yeah. I guess she was trying to make it more unique than just saying werewolves, fae, mermaids, etc., but it just isn't too necessary. There's a lot of things of this happening a lot in urban fantasy at the moment. Yeah, I think it's just trying to do exactly that, just trying to make it more unique, make it stand out more from other books. Definitely, it took me a while to get used to saying mer instead of just mermaids, but
I think for almost the entire first book, the first time, my brain just automatically just read mer and went mermaid.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I loved her. She was the greatest. And her little like her TV shows or soap operas or her what was like Fangs and Bangs is what it was. They
Yeah.
kept calling it. Most anytime she was in any scene and they were teasing each other back and forth, I just had to smile.
Yeah, you're just like, aw.
And I believe they're written as like curvy as well. So like that was interesting to have a curvy character.
Yeah. And wasn't like Bryce supposed to be kind of like shorter than the like average since she's like half fae, half human? She was shorter than all the other fae that was around. So I just picture her like half hunt size half the time.
She's not that short, but like I get what you're saying.
Because I just pictured the angels or the way that they like the way she describes them of them being larger than life almost. Just I don't know if it's because of the wings or what, but I picture them being like humongous compared to like the normal fae.
Yeah, I do as well. For some reason,
like,
I was imagining Hunt wearing a cloak, almost thing of like all long coat thing. I don't know why.
I just always imagined Hunt like super tall to the point like if I was standing next to him, I'd have to be like, "Hello,"
Yeah,
because like I'm very short.
Yeah, I was imagining him with really long wings too,
mm-hmm.
kind of like wearing dark clothes.
Yeah, and she's definitely really fun, and I love the chimera. He's great.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite characters is the chimera.
Yeah, just like every so often will pop in and like just kind of do its thing and.
But then it's strange to imagine it because they're like part lion, part snake, part like bird or something like that. So it's trying to imagine a smaller one because having a pet one, they'd be huge. Like
yeah, I know. I'm like I think my brain just every time was mentioned, I just imagined probably like a very long cat.
Yeah, with wings.
Literally, like a large house cat
And
with
a
like
snake
little
tail.
wings type thing, or something like that.
I'm sure if he had wings, he would be acting exactly like him. That's my chimera over there.
Now I'm Googling what a chimera looks like so I can be like how accurate or how wrong I was.
They've been in Final Fantasy games. They're like normally like part lion, part bird, part snake, but it's always with the snake tail. Lion head, I think, and then the wings.
Oh,
you know, now that you say that, now I'm going to picture him as Batman.
Batman and Bryce.
I'm going to forever picture
Welcome
him
to the B&B. But yeah, he's got.
Now I'm only going to imagine it.
I do like Hunt though. Like he is one of my fave characters so far, and I love the banter between him and Bryce. Definitely, and I love those scenes where you can sort of see it starting to kind of blossom, where like they're kind of being nice to each other.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like I do like the way that it's sprinkled in there and not just like boom.
Yeah,
they like each other. It's kind of more of like borderlining friends and like.
Absolutely.
But when he puts on the helmet, though, you have to remember the helmet. He's not just wearing the suit; he has the helmet with it as well. So
I will say, I think for the helmet, I did imagine kind of almost like a Batman cowl type thing.
Yeah. Almost kind of like what is like the Ant-Man and the Wasp, like the way that their helmets are kind of a mashup between the two.
Yeah.
And I definitely, from the get-go, I had gotten a bad vibe from Micah just from the get-go. And the whole, how do you say, like, Ass or Terry, I just want to punch them in the face. Just for, like, the human rebellion part of it. And I know that...
Can you see that?
Kind of mostly, like, reflecting what's going on now, if you really think about it. And just rebellions everywhere, depending on, like, how you want to put context to it. It's just the way that Micah handles it and just handles the case. It's more he's wanting to sweep it underneath the rug than actually figure out what's going on.
I think I shared a screen there. You might have to add it to the show, but like of like a picture of Hunt. So similar to Batman in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got huge wings there. So yeah, we could be right.
It just, when you say like he's got huge wings there, it just takes me back to Akatar when they're comparing wingspans. Yeah, that's probably like one of my favorite interactions with him, when he finally gets in essence his balls crushed by her. That was just funny. I had to laugh at that. Was there any particular scenes that you guys wanted to discuss? Katie, do you have questions?
Nothing comes to mind at the minute.
Yeah, I know. For like,
I'm trying to think of like there's anything.
Most of the big scenes that like need discussions are in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
In the first half, I'm trying to think, and I'm like, nothing pops to mind.
I did.
Yeah, and also it's not like I can ask you like, who do you think is the killer? Because like,
just like how this comment from Lucinda is like me and Hope holding our tongues about the Asteri. Because like I was so close to turning off my camera so I could just be like I know stuff you don't know.
I'm already wanting to hit somebody with a book already, so yeah, the library is... One day my dream is to have a library like that. Not so much alive, but just the size of the library.
Alive and... Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. Just having a library that's alive.
I'm pretty sure my cats would be crushed if the books were alive and moving. It'd probably mess with them too much. But the Viper Queen just creeped me out, and when she provided her alibi, I kind of gagged a bit. And I'm like, I don't want to know about your orgy. Thank you.
Yeah.
I like in the audiobook that the lady, like I think I said before, like where she pronounces her S's like a S. It's like when she's talking, she's like, thanks. So it makes her more like a snake-like queen. Yeah, so you two are like, yeah, we know. But
No
now, I feel like it's someone that we wouldn't expect. Am I right? Or is it someone that we do know? And
I
have met
will say that I didn't expect it to be this person until like right before it was revealed, and then it was like, oh crap.
Does it get revealed in the first book? That's my...
yeah.
Okay, so you do find out before it ends.
Yeah.
Is it like right at the end, sort of? you find it out, or is it like pretty soon? I've had it before where in some books you literally find out halfway through and you're like, really?
No, it's like maybe in the last quarter of the book.
Alright.
Yeah, like the last 20%.
Yeah, because
I feel like
I finished reading this, I think it was Thursday, and I had like a quarter of the book left on Thursday, and that was whenever everything was coming to head and things were getting resolved.
Is it a character that's in the first half of the book, or is it a new one that's comes into the second half?
I don't think there's really that many new characters that get that
I
show
will
up.
say that without spoilers is you have met them.
Yeah.
Okay, so neither one of you
some point in the
expecting who it
first half.
was. I reckon it's the chimera.
Oh darn, you guessed it.
Oh, darn.
It was Hunt. I knew it. Or plot twist, it's Bryce all along.
Don't make me choke on the water. That literally almost went up my nose. Yeah, we'll just do it like this from now on, so I can just make as many
Or
faces as I want.
secretly Danica's the killer and she just killed herself. Like
I'm just laughing at anything.
This is why we need you to hurry up, Katie.
Yeah,
I know, but the trouble is, I'm reading books in between before I read the second half.
It took me, pretty much the entire month of February to finish the book. I think when I put it through Compile, it took me like 28 days because I was putting it down and picking it back up and like taking my time with it. So I really enjoyed it.
It took me 4 days because I was just plowing through it.
Not yet. I'm still reading it.
You need to wipe your mouth. You know when someone just has dinner on their cheek and you're like, wipe your mouth? Just a bit of like mayonnaise right all the way over here.
I mean, it's supposed to be good for your skin, so hey.
Oh, that's why you were doing it. Bit of mayo just over here, you know, helps the complexion.
Oh, yeah.
So Will didn't quite read the end of part 1. He's like 4 chapters away though, but he said he doesn't have a clue who's the killer. Yeah, either.
How far did you stop at 42, Katie, or after 42, or did you keep?
Oh, I've only just stopped at 42, and then I went and started a contemporary book. I was like, I'll read something easy, and then I'll go back into it. It might help my brain to like get back into it again. Yeah. It's almost like reading a contemporary is a break, and then it's like, okay, let's go back.
Yeah, because in a contemporary you don't need to know the world system.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada.
It's contemporary with a simple plot that I can just push myself through in like a week, and then I'm happy to go back in.
Which characters did you like the best?
I mean, I've mentioned before I like Hunt. And the chimera, obviously, but yeah, and Lahaba, is that pronounced?
Lahaba?
I never know how to pronounce it, therefore I'm always just like.
Just call her by her nickname, Lily. So
yeah.
I can say that.
The one thing I wish that Sarah J. Maas did do was a character list in the book,
or a glossary in the back of the book.
Yeah, like
a glossary
like
amazing,
and how to pronounce it, like in brackets, sort of thing.
Yeah,
and then all they got to do is just say a little line of like best friend to Bryce or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I could just easily just go use the book without being spoiled by looking up character names.
Yeah, because right now, if you were to look up a character, you could be spoiled for the second book too.
Yeah.
Fury is pretty. I think she's pretty cool. I think I would have to stick with Bryce being my favorite since I relate to her so much. So
Fury is kind of like that, like kind of assassin person, aren't they? Given a mission.
I think like she's described by Bryce as like an assassin / mercenary type character.
Yeah, I kind of was thinking of like Fury as a bit like Selena from the Throne of Glass.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but like 100 times more badass.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Just wearing black, you know.
always
Yeah,
wear black.
almost like a mixture of Selena and I don't know, Raven from Teen Titans, sort of like the dark character of like, I don't know. I kind of like felt like she had a kind of monotone voice as well, of like, seriously. Yeah, okay,
yeah, that's how I read her, as just kind of not that she
Sounds
was
like me.
bored of the conversation, but just kind of like monotone, like I don't really care what you're saying. But
Yeah, like they only care
thing.
about their mission and themselves, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, I'm off now, bye.
Okay, I'm off. See you in 6 months.
Yeah.
See ya. What about you, Hope?
I like Bryce too.
I kind of can't pick between Bryce and Hunt, and that probably is just because they're the two main characters. You see them so often that they both kind of grew on me, and like I can't pick a favorite. Like picking a favorite between them is like, I don't know, like picking a favorite book. You can't decide.
Yeah.
And I think it's also maybe like their interactions together is what makes me like them so much, like is because of their interactions together.
Yeah, because they bring out a lot of their good traits when they're together.
Yeah, they kind of like bounce
the good side of them.
But I just love that protective side of Hunt when Hunt's like, yeah, I'm coming with you, and she's like, no, and he's like, too late, I am.
Yeah, he's like, well, if you don't like it, I'm still going.
Yeah.
Yep. And which character was your least favorite?
Danica's mom. I really hated her. Like,
yeah.
I was just every
she
time
she could have died, and I would have been like, oh no.
Yeah.
So it's been established we have the We Hate Sabine fan club. So
yeah,
we hate Sabine. We love Bryce and Hunt.
Yeah, Sabine just the first time I met Sabine, and she just was a bitch to like Bryce, and I was like,
yeah.
And then the next time she comes in, and again she's being like a complete dick, and I'm like, just go away.
You're like, just leave.
Yeah, like nobody cares about you. Just go away. And then obviously the scene of like, because I think it was like the second big scene where she was there was when they were like, wait, did like Danica's mom actually kill her? And it's like, really? Why would you do that to like your daughter? If so,
I was like convinced, almost.
Yeah,
that she did.
The way that it was going for a bit. Yeah. What'd you think? You hate Sabine too?
Reen just seems like a good guy wanting a relationship with his sister.
Yeah, he is like. I will say that after reading the second book, Rune might be my favorite character.
I just like him as like the cool older brother.
Yeah, the cool older brother that kind of like not doesn't give a shit, but is kind of more of like
he actually gives a shit.
Yeah, like there's some like with some things he's like, oh yeah, do whatever you want, and then other times he's like, that's a bad idea, don't do that, nope.
And how about that line with Rune as well, like it ends with you sort of thing as well.
I have a feeling
Does that line still not get solved in the second book, that one? Or
nope. Are
there more hints to it? Or like
honestly, even after the second book, that line is still kind of like up in the air with meaning.
A mystery, yeah. Because like the more times you read it, like, you know, the more times you read it, the more you're like, you read it in a different way, and then you're like, oh. Like,
I'm just saying that with that line, I have a theory. Literally just based on that line from the first book with no further information. In all honesty.
Yeah, I kind of have like a little theory too, but I'm not sure.
I have a theory, and it's backed up with information from book 2, but then also kind of not.
I think I need to read book 2 to see if my theory that I got now is going to be the same, and then yeah. But yeah, it's like it's interesting that that line is still like not even solved in the second book. Like, and isn't this going to be a trilogy? I think I read somewhere.
I think there's supposed to be like what, 5?
No, I think
There's
it's been contracted right now. There's only 3 like contracted through.
Okay.
What is the publishing company? I don't even know. Like, but
Is it?
Yeah,
Bloomsbury?
I think it's
Normally it is.
Bloomsbury. I think it's so far contracted with 3. But
yeah, Bloomsbury is the publisher right now.
Who knows? Because like my thinking is that there might be 3 main books, and then there might be like a kind of almost like with the Actor series, how there was that like novella after the series ended. I feel like there could be kind of that because of there being the like 4 houses, but only 3 of them follow the same like pattern of how it goes, like House of blank and blank, and then you just have House of Many Waters that doesn't fit into that rhyming scheme.
Yeah.
I
House
thought there
of
would
Death.
at least be 4 because of the list of books and stuff.
What spoilers did I say? The rhyme.
What about more than 3 houses? How many books do you think there's gonna
Fingers
be?
crossed on Wednesday. I'm still editing it.
How many books?
Fingers crossed Wednesday.
How many
And
books do you
I
think?
am in the process of recording mine.
I just need to edit it, but I'm just like, I don't want to edit it.
Keep it as raw footage.
No, there will literally just be me at the end. I have, put it this way, I have, for the reacting for the last, I think it's the last 5 chapters, about 35 minutes of just footage of me being like,
There's that one
And then
point where
crying.
I'm sitting at work in one of my like clips. I'm like, what? Why? Who? Yeah, Bryce's Oracle visit is. I was confused when like the kitten's like, what blinds an Oracle? I'm like, huh?
Yeah, that scene didn't really stick with me.
yeah, I don't even know if that's actually brought up like again, really.
I remember an oracle being mentioned, but I don't even remember that
Yeah,
scene.
but
It ties
like,
more
I'm trying
to
to
the end of
think.
the book.
I'm trying to think based on information we even learned from book 2, what that could have been like, and I don't even know. It could very easily go longer than 3, yes, but
I suppose we've got to see how the third one ends.
Mm-hmm.
first you got to see how the second one ends.
Well, yes, but then like when she's gonna like bring out the next one, like next year, so like
Yes.
I'm preparing myself slowly, spreading it.
And then there's me diving down the theory hole, just like wanting to do a whole theories and predictions video of like, here's what I think will happen in book 3, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, well, Beck in the Books did that for the second book anyway. Like,
She got to redo it for the third. Let's just put it that way.
yeah.
Didn't she do like a video too of how the world all 3 worlds connect? Yes, I'm taking that as a yes.
Me just laughing at that and putting my camera off because I can't.
Can you fix
Yep,
that?
yep.
I don't want a boob for a drink, thank you.
I didn't actually watch like Becca's prediction because obviously I'd not read the first one yet. But was she wrong or right or somewhat wrong?
If I say one or the other, I'm spoiling things.
Oh, okay. Because obviously I want to read the
Because-
before I watch a video, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched your video yet since I haven't finished Throne of
I know,
Glass.
like, I can't say anything because saying more than what I am is huge spoilers, basically.
Hmm. But then again, I have not watched the video, so like, even if you just said, "Oh yeah, like her theories were wrong," I wouldn't watch it until I've read the first book anyway.
Yeah, like
so.
I guess some things, I don't remember exactly what was said, like word for word type thing. Some of them I feel like we're going in the right direction, others not.
That's a great thing about
I
theories.
can't remember half of what's said.
Did you have theories the first time you read the book? Like,
do it, do it, do it.
but it's actually quite interesting contemporary that I'm reading.
It's
You just can't do it.
And then Rosie came to me today saying her copy of Atlas 6 has arrived. We should read it soon after she finishes Red Rising. And I'm like,
to finish the book.
Just like, how are we still reading
Well,
Only a Monster?
it was more like when am I going to finish the second half? And also, these are not even on my actual TBR. So, and I was sort of thinking, why did I make a TBR this month? Like,
Let's just say I'm already reading a book that's not on my TBR this month, and I'm genuinely like, I'm gonna try to do my best, but I don't want to read anything.
well, so am I.
TBR
The contemporary that I'm reading literally came in the post the other day, and obviously it's a review book, so that's why I'm reading it too. And then I'm like, it wasn't on my TBR. I'm trying not to think about that. Like,
I don't. This one is technically was on my TBR, but I am far behind with By the Angel read along. I haven't picked up book 2, like or City of Ashes or whatever it is. So I'm probably not gonna continue on with the reread like I was wanting to.
I was gonna say to you, is it a reread for you or like a first time reading?
Yeah, I read this whole series like back in high school and have been rereading them on and off for the last few years. So it's just been a while since I last reread them.
Oh no, Atlas 6 was a waste of my time. I hated the characters. Oh dear.
I have heard that with that book you either love it or hate it.
Yeah, I've heard it's a Marmite book, so I'm hoping I'm one that likes it, or at least good enough for a 4-star sort of thing. But then I've loved books that people have hated, like when people have like gave them the books that I favorite 1 star, and I'm like, really? That really hurts you.
Oh, you had to go after my feelings that way.
Yeah, yeah, it does as well. Like, I'm like, oh, why did you not like it? It's so good. Like, but then, yeah, like I've it's the same with like the Shadowhunter books. I hear that you're either a fan or you're not, or you find them just okay. But I'm
still not a big fan of the fake incest kind of trope in that.
Yeah. I remember like watching the movie before I read the 3rd book, and obviously in the 3rd book's when they revealed that. But whereas the movie, they kind of revealed it in the movie, and I'm like, oh. Science bit. Okay. Well, I shall see what I think about it. Hopefully I do enjoy it, but yeah. Be a shame, it's such a pretty book.
What do you think of the romance pacing part of the first half?
I mean, with Hunt and Bryce, I like how they started off really just like, especially Bryce, she was not having anything to do with Hunt at all.
Yeah, she's just
and
like,
then,
can
like,
you leave?
Yeah, and then when he's
doing
outside,
it to mess with him too,
shutting the curtains and being like, "Yeah, you stay out there in the cold. Like, I'm in here. Good night." And then she would tease him by like stripping into like her undies.
Yeah, just like walking around her apartment, like just like, I don't care if you can see.
What romance? Come on.
Yeah, I just like the part where she like it just doing things to like get at him, to like she knows what he wants. She knows what she's doing, but she's doing it for a reason.
Yeah, this is definitely slow burn filled with teasing.
Yeah,
and I like love that. The first time around when I read it, I was kind of almost like, okay, come on, just get together. Then the second time, it's just kind of like,
yeah, you can understand why it's kind of like slow burning.
Yeah, first time I was like, just do it already.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I like how
Child
it
above, just do it.
But yeah, like there was the scene where like they were thinking, like I don't know, he looked at her and was like, "I see you," and then like she looked him back and was like, "I see you too," sort of thing, and I was like,
I'm sure
yeah,
that scene, that would be like Jordan's ideal scene for us, because it has to do with guns. So he's big into target practice stuff. So
And you're just
yeah.
like, maybe not.
not so much.
I was like, "Damn, she's good with that gun."
But then he goes to thinking about a different type of gun, and then goes back to thinking about the actual shooting part.
Oh god. Next question.
I'm out of questions. So is there anything you guys want to bring up?
We spoke about the characters. We spoke about the. Did we speak of plot wise?
I guess the question is, how do you like the setting of the book? Because it's something that is not that common, is like a high fantasy in a urban setting where you have all these creatures, all of these different species, but you have modern technology. I've never read anything like that before this book, really.
And also, the year is like, what is it, 15,000?
15,000 something. It's insane. Like, I remember when I first read that, I was like, I'm sorry, what now? Like, this, huh?
Yeah, like, and even when they repeat it, I think a couple of times, it's like 15,000 and then 16 or something stupid like that.
I honestly forgot about like what year that it was supposed to be set in until it like brought it up, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because sometimes in synopsis they say like in the year of 15 blah blah blah, but like it didn't this time. It was only in the book that it was mentioned.
Like the year is not that the year's not relevant, but it kind of like, my brain has a thing, but I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Like, not that the year's not relevant, but it's just kind of like that just happens to be the year, and this is just where all of the technology and like advances have been. And I love how it's seemingly like, to us, it looks like our modern world almost.
Yeah.
But there are fae and mer people and wolves and all that living in like, not quite in peace, but like
harmoniously sort of thing. Like, yeah, because normally like vampires versus werewolves, they've always been against each other sort of thing. Like,
kind of more like they all just live in the city together.
Yeah, and
go about their daily life.
Like, ugh, you werewolf, or ugh, you vampire, or
like, ugh, you stupid fae.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that, Lauren. I wish there was a little bit more about the world in the first one too.
Yeah,
but I feel that is just something that is like, if she does continue it on past like the 3 or 4 books, or like she'll add slowly into the next.
Yeah, I feel like one thing I will say is I feel like the first, like if the series ends up being like, let's say like 6, 7, 8 books, whatever, that the first 3, maybe 4, if there is a 4th one, would be like the characters that we know. And then if it continued on, we'd go to maybe like a different continent with different characters suffering the aftermath of what happens, and then building on the world from there, maybe.
Yeah, I think like just more for me, I wanted a little bit more history about the city. I think just
like just for the 15,000.
Like you do get more history of the world in the second book.
Yeah,
but I do feel like some of it should have been a little bit more in the first book. But then
I think
what you learn, you're kind of like, oh, I get why we didn't learn it.
I think a little bit more, like hinting at it more about where the riots or the like rebels are in the first book, to kind of have a little bit more digging up into it would have been
like they mentioned the like the Pangera, is that how it's pronounced? but you're like, okay, I don't know in reference how far away that is. Is that like only a few hours away? Is that a day away if you were to like get there type thing?
Yeah, and how do these things, why does this country matter to Crescent City? How is it connected? It's like, I know the like heads of the power or whatever are they over there, but why is it affecting us here?
That is something that like is like the, I guess it would be like almost like the geography of the world kind of type thing is almost like never
mentioned. It's like, if you want to learn about it, of how far it is, you have to look at the map, pretty much.
But even then, you just have the map of the city. You don't have a map of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, the bone gates for the graveyard was probably like one of the like coolest parts about the city, is just the world itself, how each section has their own kind of graveyard and how they're handled.
I swear, one thing that like there was a artwork that was shared. I could not tell you where I saw it or who created it, of like Crescent City, and like the way that the gates were drawn was definitely not how I imagined them. Hello, kitty.
What did you think about it? Did you like it?
Nope.
Oh,
Leaves. Oh, I hated it.
Yeah, like
I hated it. Mummy didn't play with me as much. She was reading.
With this, though, that kind of goes back to, if she learns how to stop repeating words 3 times over, she can get that information in place of those words.
I know, like, you can put these 2 paragraphs into one paragraph, then add a paragraph about something else.
Yeah. And get out of the habit of saying like very, 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 or whatever, and just say it once and get it done and over with.
I'd like to learn more about the houses, personally. Like the
Yeah.
House of Earth and Blood, the House of Sky and Breath. Like,
I
what are
still
they?
wonder how those like titles were made and how they were.
Like the history
why
behind
is
it.
this
What makes
species
you?
house,
Yeah.
why is this one in this?
That makes me kind of more curious about, like, if it, like, the history of it goes back to, like, the Throne of Glass and Akatar series. Like, it really does, if it really does link of that way, is maybe them kind of coming from that, like, the houses are coming from, like, the court.
Hey, if you do that, then we know that it does. This is where Selena Sadothian appears at the end of book 2. We do it. I'm pretty sure that Sarah J. Maas hinted that they could be interlinked as well. I'm sure she did.
Yeah, I think she had. In High Rosie.
I remember reading it.
Go read the book, Rosie. Read the book. Read the
To be honest,
book.
we've spoken about the most spoilery parts, so yeah, I think you're okay, Rosie. You're safe.
The way that I'm still scared to turn my camera back on.
I'm shouting inside.
I know.
Most people's, like, Cassandra Clare's books all interlink, in the Shadow.
But they're in the same world.
Yeah, but then, like, you got to only look at A Court of Thorns and Roses, and they're fae. So,
but you also have to remember too, like, my thinking is maybe Throne of Glass is like first because of they had mentioned at the first beginning books of it being the fairy, like, king or whatever disappearing. My thinking is that he went to another world or went to, like, the Throne of Glass type of world. And then in Crescent City they talk about the portals or the gates and stuff being for Throne of, I'm thinking Throne of Glass and all that. That's just how my brain is working.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, but my brain just going. Well, that works.
Yeah. That's just like the way that my brain is thinking. If it is linking, that's how I'm thinking that it links to, because she mentions a lot, at least in this book and in Throne of Glass, about there being different worlds anyways, or like different dimensions, or however you're wanting to say it. So that's why I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I'm briefly.
I'm
I've
just
not
gonna
really
nod
read it
and
in ages,
agree.
but yeah.
I haven't finished Throne of Glass either. I've only read the first maybe like 3 books, so that's just from my memory of reading him last year. I vaguely remember mention of how the king disappeared or something.
Yeah, Lucinda, maybe you should read the Throne of Glass series and the Court of Thorns
She
and Roses
currently
series,
is, I
and
think.
then see if that
Lucinda
theory.
currently is, because we were talking about the Assassin's Blade like a week ago, maybe. So, like, she said that she is going to start actively reading the series.
Yeah, and then maybe you can kind of see if that theory is right, possibly.
Yeah, because it was on as of Sunday, she was reading the Assassin's Blade. So.
See, Lucinda, Hope knows exactly what you're reading. Be careful.
See, now my brain's going.
I have all the secrets of all the books.
Yeah, like she knows exactly what you're reading. You cannot hide it.
Yeah, like my brain is also continue on with thinking about like what I've read of Throne of Glass and that whole scene where she is in a different world or something, fighting the demon or whatever. So and it's reminding me of later on in this book. So
continue on, Lucinda. Continue on. I've yet to finish this Throne of Glass books myself, to be honest. Air of Fire is where I'm at, but because that was the first one where I was like, "Whoa, it's a big chunk."
I've read that one. I know. I remember meeting Rowan and then Manon. So and knowing I don't like Cole or Kale or however you want to say his name.
I think it's Kale when.
I've heard a lot of people pronounce it differently, so I'm like, I have no idea.
I think I have pronounced it 2 different ways throughout the whole thing. Of like one time it'll be one, the next it'll be next. Yeah. I know I'm currently doing a reread of the series, and I'm so glad I'm doing it.
I think when I met her a few years ago, and this is quite a few years ago, when Throne of Glass was just released, and she said it's Kale.
Kale.
That's
I
that's
think
how
that's what she
so.
like says whenever it's mentioned, but then it's kind of like even the whole thing of how do you pronounce like Reese's name? That can be pronounced a million different ways. From like
Reese, Rice, Rysand.
I know, I'm
like ouch.
Yeah. It'd be interesting just to see how then like the newer books are and really flesh out more about it, how they are linked, if they are linked, kind of thing.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what she does with that. But yeah, I definitely wish there was more history.
I'm always interested into how things kind of circle back on itself, because that's how I kind of was like reading the Harry Potter series. Because I always go back through and like figure out what is ring theory with that. So.
Reese's Pieces.
Now I want Reese's Pieces. Like.
I know.
I mean, I thought Rhysand because if you think of Reese, Rhys, Reese is pronounced as Reese. So
Yeah,
that's why I feel like it's Rhysand. But
yeah, I think I pronounce it that way too. I know I pronounced it a different way when I first read like it the first time, and then on my reread I pronounced it a different way, and now I stick to the way I pronounced it on my reread.
Yeah, I can't remember how the audiobook pronounced it too, but I feel like it's Rhysand as well.
And also that's what Sarah says, like anytime she's referring to him, it's always like Reese or Rhysand.
Yeah.
I just usually wait until somebody tells me how it's supposed to say, and then I read it that way.
But it's like at the time when Fangirl came out and Rainbow Rowell, and a lot of people were saying Rainbow Rowell as well. So I actually tweeted them and was like, "How is your surname actually pronounced? Because there's two ways." And they were like, "It rhymes with towel." So I was like, "Okay." So it's like now you've solved the big mystery because so many people were like Rainbow Rowell. I'm reading a Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I was like, "This is annoying me now." Like, I need to know.
Yeah,
how
like
to
there's
pronounce it.
always names in books, especially like fantasy books, that you're like, is this pronounced as simple as it seems, or is it more complex, or all that? So it's like, I used to always be like, oh no, you're pronouncing the character's name wrong, but then now I'm like, as long as you're pronouncing the character's name and I know who you're talking about, I don't care what you call them.
And Sarah J. Maas is known for her crazy names as well. Like Bryce to me is a guy's name, but you know, I watched 13 Reasons Why Bryce is a character in it.
Yeah.
No.
Or like a character who I don't even know how to pronounce the name. Therefore, I'm not even going to pronounce it. But there's a character in Yellow Glass that I still don't know how to pronounce her goddamn name, and it's been 2 years since I've read the book.
Yeah.
Either of you wouldn't have met her yet. She's like fourth book, maybe. I don't know.
Bryce was my toast. Yeah, so it must be very strange reading this series, like with obviously reading Bryce as a female character. Like if Bryce was
I do like that of how like nowadays names don't specifically have a gender, and this is kind of like Sarah J. Maas being like, oh yeah, this name Bryce can be for a girl. Something
like
as
Chris
simple as
and
that.
Chris. Like there's a Chris male and a Chris female. So but yeah. I don't think there's anything else to talk about, really.
Everything. Katie, finish the book.
Katie,
finish the book.
Same time.
I will before the next live. Don't worry.
No. And by the next live, hopefully, Sam will be happy to be like with me. About the ending.
Sam now, but yeah.
I know, but you get what I'm saying is like the very end type thing, the ending, how it ends. You would know that.
Yeah.
And have to be like.
The book. Yeah, I'm already like. This was just all in like one day worth of reading too, so.
Nice.
I do feel like once you get into the second book, you do understand a lot more things, so you do read it faster.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because I know there is about a million things also being thrown at every 2 seconds, so.
Well, Saturday evenings was normally Sam's reading sprint night as well, so.
Last Saturday of the month is.
Oh, come on.
Well, I know that if you want sprints, Books and Bops is doing sprints for like another like 6 hours with Ashley.
Actually have it still up, kind of just muted in the next tab, so.
So if anybody needs sprints, just check over there.
Just hopping on over.
Yeah. I wonder if it will let me.
But yeah, 1, possibly 2 books, and I'll jump back in the second half. It depends how much Rosie's going to bully me.
This is the link to their live, or their sprints, if anyone wants.
I think I've got them on my YouTube, actually, so it probably will come up on my subscriptions, I think.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I guess since we're done with that, we're gonna end it here. I'm gonna eat my pizza because it's sitting here in front of me, and I'm just staring at it now.
Yeah, I saw the bearded Hagrid brought it in. Although it looked like a very
I'm
small
surprised he
pizza.
only brought it in and didn't stay in chat.
Yeah.
It's just like a single serve sliced pizza he got from the gas station.
I was like, what is that he just handed you? I was like, that's so small.
Yep. Well, considering that it's supposed to be a single slice, the slice itself is kind of big. So
That is like a quarter of a pizza.
That's interesting that your pizza place does a single slice.
Well, it's just the gas station that's near our place. They do it. It's literally called Hunk a Pizza. So they do like I usually get their pepperoni ones, but they also do like a breakfast pizza as well in the morning. Like it had like eggs, sausage, and something else that he normally gets a lot. But yeah,
nice.
Yeah, he was going to the gas station already, so he asked me if I wanted anything. I'm like, pizza, please.
Pizza!
So, yeah, I'm going to scarf that down and probably get back to reading. Thank you
Nice.
for joining.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good discussion for the first time.
Yeah.
Now you just need to read the book.
I know! I will.
Very excited to see your thoughts on the end of it.
Yeah.
I'll have to do like a small little group of like all of you that have read obviously the first book and be like, oh my god!
I mean, I had yesterday Sam messaged me about book 2, be like, I just want to punch this character, and I'm like, yep, be updated.
So yeah.
Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next live for part 2, and then we can bombard Katie with all these questions.
Yay!
And then force her to read book 2.
Yeah. Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.